Second episode.
Number 2 of Love, Beats, and Marriage. Hashtag LBM Kings. You didn't say Kings.
Kings. Doesn't mess with you, man.
Okay, well, thank y'all for coming back. Last week was our first episode, obviously. This one is our second. And we talked last week about marriage and money because that was like a big hurdle for Mike and I. And last week I didn't have my rings on. This week I do.
Yeah, and I got my wife's shirt on. No,
right. Last week I had that shirt on.
Right.
I love God and
hip hop. Right. And before we get into it real quick, babe, let's just tell people just a little bit about ourselves because we call this show Love, Beats, and Marriage. But I'll start off like with me. Of course, I love my wife, and I'm in music production, and I'm also an artist. So throughout most of my life, music has played a very centered. It centered me. It was my go-to, and it just was my escapism. It was my love and everything else. Until I met my wife and God introduced me to her. And I just want to give some background. So within the name, we didn't just pull a name off the head. We put in some time to come up with the name.
Yeah,
so tell people a little about you.
Strong 30 minutes.
Yes.
There's like we have a skylight here, and I just see a line. I feel like, I don't know if anybody else can see it, but it's the sun. So yeah, we didn't even say our names. Right?
A sunny night.
I'm Ty Scott King. And a lot of times I'll just say Mike because Sunny Night is obviously not his first name, right?
Right, it's not my first name.
Yeah, but I am a artist and I minister through poetry and hip hop. And I write. I'm also an author. And some other things. I'll just put the 3 dots.
Yeah, we'll expose more as these episodes over time to those. But I just want to give just a brief, since we're in the early stages. So so you finished recapping, babe, how last week was. With,
it was about money and marriage, and that's all the recap I'm gonna say because I want you guys to go back and watch the last episode. Right. So yeah, it was some juicy stuff about the red book and the fear in Mike's eyes that I didn't even notice because I was so focused on what I'd always done. So we learned some things.
Yeah, we definitely learned some things.
I learned some things, and we've been married 7 years, and there were some things that I didn't know about Mike's secret compulsions.
Yeah, I was keeping a lot of secrets, so we'll talk about that way down the road. But anyway, what's today's topic, man?
Oh, today's topic. Oh, yeah. Today we're talking about. We had like a nice fancy title for it.
But I think I remember. When your spouse knows the destination but has no drive to get there.
That's it.
And I came with that with the fly.
Look at that.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
When your spouse knows the destination but has no drive to get there.
And this is personal for me because my wife, and let me put this out there too, because a lot of people will think at times that my wife doesn't encourage me and don't push me because I have a lot of talents that God has given me, and I can just go over and over what God has blessed me with. And my wife is always encouraging me, but I'm gonna be honest, and she'll be honest. I mean, she got to the point was like, what do I have to do? What do I have to say? Please tell me. What do I have to do?
Can I pay you $1 million?
Yeah, what do I have to do? And it was just not working. It was just not registering. So we're hoping that this will minister, and we're still working through this. I mean, I still got a ways to go, but there's something that a lot of marriages go through. I remember someone told me, especially being in a marriage, that when a woman marries you, she's got to see the potential in you and the leader in you before you do. So she's got to see that potential. So it's one thing to see the potential, but to get that person to recognize it can be brutal. And I know it's been brutal for my wife. So we're just talking this thing through today and just trying to hope it ministers somebody's life.
Yes, I was listening, but there's something over here that I don't know what it is, and it was caught my attention.
Like a
I
bug?
just put my elbow right there. No, it's like a piece of paper or something.
Oh,
It's
okay.
random.
I knew it was a bug. You've been jumping.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have been gone, y'all. Y'all wouldn't even see me. But yeah, it's definitely, this is a lot that we're working through. And yeah, one of my favorite stories to tell about Mike knowing the destination that he wants to get to, but not really having the drive to do it is, many of you know that Mike is a chef, a self-taught, restaurant trained, I guess is where you got your experience.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Okay, look at me like I was wrong.
No.
Chef. So he was in the food industry for many years before we got married, and then several years into our marriage. And I didn't know until we moved here to California in 2015. We were living with a friend, and it was dinner time, and we had forgotten, or I had forgotten, to buy spaghetti sauce, because at that time Mike was working in the restaurant industry, so it was like he was always gone. So I was going to the store by myself, and I'd forgotten to get it. I didn't put it on my list, and I like lists.
Yes, you
So
did.
Mike said, he was like, "Oh, I know how to make pasta sauce." I was like, "What? I've been married to you for, at that point,
3 and a half.
2 years.
2 years.
We got married in 2013,
Okay.
got here in 2015, so
Okay.
like a little more than 2 years, 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I didn't know he knew how to make pasta sauce. So I was like, what the heck? We could be making pasta sauce. This could be our thing. We could be the kings of pasta. Duh. So Mike was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's. So at the time I had a corporate job, and my coworkers ate out quite a bit. And so I said, hey, my husband, some of them knew he was a chef, but I said he wants to like prepare lunch for us. And it was a team of maybe 15 or about 15 of us. So he was like, Mike said, yeah, I'll bring like a sample, and I'll do the spaghetti and the homemade, the pasta and the homemade pasta sauce and all this stuff. So he brought it up there all nice and fancy in these individual trays and everything, and they loved it. So they were like, can we get this? So I said, okay, we'll bottle it up. We'll put it in some jars. So we went to the store and bought like those big,
Mason jars.
yeah, the packs. They come in like however many, 15, 12.
Mm-hmm.
And bought like 2 or 3 of those packs, and sold quite a few jars. Like one of my coworker friends, she literally had like a ton of jars. She took a picture for us because she wanted to give some to her family.
Yeah.
I mean, people loved it. They were going crazy over it. I was excited. We're in this pasta business, or this sauce business. Some of that was 2015. Some of those jars are still in our cabinet.
Empty jars.
Empty jars.
Yeah, that
Some
would never
of those
fill.
empty jars, unfilled dreams deferred, are still in our cabinet because Mike
I lost the drive to do it. And we've talked about it as recent as this week. It's like I know one of my Achilles Heel is once when something that I have a gift that I'm gifted in doing, once when it seems like a job, then I lose interest, because then it's like, oh man, I've got to put in some work with this, and now it's not fun anymore. And I'm sure some people can relate to that. People who have talents, and then people are giving them it's cool, that's fine, school. And people have told me, hey, you need to put this out in the masses, let more people be exposed to this. And once you start taking that journey and see, it's like, wait a minute. Because like with my process, if it's not easy, and I know I'm just being honest and transparent, for me, with the gifts that God's given me, if it's not easy or fun, really fun and easy, then I just start checking out.
And for me, I'm like, yeah, I want it to be fun. I want it to be easy, but I understand that there's work involved.
Right.
I'm an artist and I love being an artist, but I also understand the administrative side of the artistry. I understand responding to people's emails. I understand budgeting. I understand having to send all these emails to DJs before a single comes out. And Mike has now has a taste of that too. Like just the business side of ministry. It exists. So as much fun as I have doing what I do, I'm still like, okay, I gotta set up the website. Not that I can't hire people, I can, but sometimes you can't. So you gotta do it yourself. And those are the unfun, unglamorous parts. Yeah. But I take that with the fun stuff. And
that's the thing, when people see you on social media, or like my wife, she does photo shoots or videos and stuff like that. What people don't know is, a lot of that stuff, we're not paying money. We barter with a lot of our friends with our gifts that God gives us, because we don't, we're not rolling in the dope. So a lot of
stuff, could be had we done
that spaghetti sauce and other stuff. So a lot of the stuff that you see that my wife does, mostly my wife posts a lot of our personal stuff on social media, which I don't really have a problem with. But at the same time, a lot of people may see there, some people may come across, look at the Kings, they doing good, they in California, they are rolling in it. Like most of that stuff you saw, we're not paying for this. God has blessed us with talent and surrounded us with talented friends and talented people who lend their talents to us. So if we had to pay for a lot of this stuff, we wouldn't be doing it, because we wouldn't be able to afford it. And then the fact that as far as me and music production, a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that we do, especially music, we're able to record here because at home, and we keep a lot of stuff in-house, a lot of it. So that also helps us with the cost of it. Yeah. And those are just some things I just wanted to share with people. And that's what I want this show to be about, so you can take a peek behind the curtain. Because it's one thing for you to see a glimpse or a shot in time and to form your own conclusion of how someone is living or what's going on in their life. Because of course on social media, people want to show you their best and they want to get their best pose, and I guess, but you don't know, once you peek behind the curtain, what it took to get there. You have to get there, or what made that possible. So I want us to be as transparent as possible when it comes to that, so people don't think that, oh man, them Kings, and we're blessed.
We live in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, we live in Huntington Beach.
We live in Orange County,
right?
Which, if you've ever watched The Real Housewives of Orange County, it is definitely a thing.
Right.
What do they call the city next to us? It's called Newport Beach.
Yeah, Newport Beach.
It's just a couple cities from us,
yeah.
But yeah, they call it Newport Beach. So yeah, definitely Orange County lives up to its name as being one of the most expensive counties in the country.
In the U.S., yeah, easy.
And we live here, but that's because God granted us favor.
We got big favor.
We pay the rent, but
it's not. We're not paying what we should be paying to live here. I'm not gonna give any numbers, but we're not paying what we should pay to live here. But that's God's favor. So people may see that and they think like, oh man, they really doing that. They really know we're blessed and highly favored. That's all it is. We're just blessed, and thank God He doesn't give us what we truly deserve.
Yes. But when we talk about not living up to your potential and knowing where you want to go, like when we first moved out here, we lived with a friend for 3 months, for a few months. I remember we drove through Huntington Beach. We came down here to go to the beach, and Mike was like, I want to be a Huntington Beach bad boy because Tito Ortiz. I was like, I don't even know who that is. And we ended up living here in Huntington Beach, not because we sought it out, but because He spoke it, and God had apparently put that into His spirit, and it happened. But it's like the potential to do these things, like, okay, we're so close to Hollywood, we have this potential to be these stars, or like do a comedy set, or go and audition for some role, I guess pre-COVID, right, when we actually went places. But are we living up to this potential? Like, you could have wanted to be a Huntington Beach bad boy, but done nothing to actually be that.
Right.
Like, I feel like there are a lot of times where you definitely know you can do something, and I know you can do it. So I'm like, yes, do it, go for it. like the other time when I found out you can make baby food, and I was like, you know how to make baby food? Let's make baby food. This was after the pasta. I was like, maybe it was just the pasta. Maybe the baby food would be more exciting. So we like went to the store and we did like a recon on what goes into baby food and then Mike just wasn't interested. So I started thinking maybe I just need to learn it. Like while he's interested, I just learn it and then I'll do it. But then I'm like, I don't want to make baby food. I just want you to make it because you know how.
Yeah. And this is what we want to help you with, because maybe your husband or your wife that you're living with, you're going through the same thing.
Hopefully you're living with
right. And this is the advice I give for me, talking from the perspective of the low drive person. Because I'm starting to shift in it. I would say now I'm a drive one in this season.
Yes.
I'm a drive one.
You've shifted out of neutral.
I shifted out of neutral. But the best ways to motivate a person with that type of personality, definitely continue to encourage them. But to actually find out what do they like doing the most, like seriously. Like, for example, I like music and I love wrestling and I love cooking. You know, those are things that I do, minus the wrestling. So just yeah, but that's a whole nother story I could get into. But anyway, my advice to you seriously is to sit down with the person, to encourage them, and to pick one of those things and say, hey, babe, let's see if we can see if one of those things that you like, to see if we can turn that into something that could benefit us financially. Now, I know that may scare you, because all of a sudden now it's like, oh, this is not fun, because that's people who driven like me. That's the main thing. And be honest with yourself. If it ain't fun no more, you don't want to do it.
You gotta know that going in. You
gotta know that going in. So you have to.
Am I gonna want to do this?
Right.
When it's not fun.
Right.
Just like marriage.
Right.
Marriage every day is not fun.
Right.
Am I ready to be in marriage and have days where it's like, this sucks? Mm-hmm. If you don't think you can handle the sucky days, then... And the
sucky days gonna come.
Yes. Always.
Always.
Sunny
but it ain't gonna last always.
Everybody loves them. Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? I know. But anyway. That's exactly how I used to think he sounded.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like that. Yeah, that's great advice, babe. To just really be realistic and as the more driven spouse to say.
And this is gonna be baby steps too, because that person is. I got a friend of mine, and you know who you are. You're my best friend. I'm not gonna call your name out on the app, but you know who you are, player. You super talented too, and your wife has tried to figure out what she can do to get that out, and it's baby steps. But you're not gonna really fulfill what God has planned for your purpose, because God already knew. He put those gifts in you, and you know we got free will and everything else, but God is not gonna force you to use those gifts. So there's gonna have to be some accountability for that. So I feel that. So
did you just not have, like, before me, before this person who was like, I got this list. I make a list every day of what I need to do that day.
Oh, I was never a list person.
I can't just have it all up here. I have to write it down. I have to be able to see it. I need to be able to check it off. So initially I thought, well, maybe you just didn't have like people who pushed you and mentored you. But then you told me you played sports, and I'm like, surely then you had people who were like, do your best, Mike, come on.
No.
But then I remembered they don't always care about what you're really doing. They just want you to win for the team.
Right.
So is that it? Like the accountability that you were talking about, is it okay, this person needs to have some kind of accountability beyond their spouse? Because I got to the point where I felt like, okay, I just don't know. People are acting like I'm tired, I'm just trying to get the shine, and I'm hiding Mike. He's in the basement. His skills cannot be shown. And I'm like, no, true. I'm literally here like, please be great.
Right.
Trying to launch him into success.
Right.
And he's like, no, I don't.
Right. And a lot of that had to do with the fact too, when we first got married too, I didn't want the perception of people to think that we got married for me to hitch up on her coattails. All of a sudden, I was a struggling artist, and then it's like, ooh, I got married to somebody that people know, so now I could just, footway my way, like Kevin Federline with Britney Spears. He was a good dancer. But then after he married her,
almost once an episode, yeah. I'm gonna almost choke.
Yeah, he did K-Fed. You know what I'm saying? K-Fed was a thing. And he was I don't think he could ever been on Dancing with the Stars. But back then, Britney Spears didn't have those type of dancers that would be like, ooh, they weren't like Missy Elliott dancers.
He's turned out to be I don't know. I can't say this, but the better parent from public perception. It seems that he's a great parent. Yeah,
definitely. But so I mean, I didn't want people to think that, because I already knew when I started dating her, she was a really big deal. Really quick after going to church once, people constantly be like, stop me before I went to. Do you know who you have here? Do you know who this woman is? I mean, seriously, it was like 10, 12 people before I even get into the church. I'm like, okay, yeah. And then once we got to we walking down, they're like, oh no, y'all sit in front. Y'all sit right here. And I'm like, what the?
I didn't want to sit.
I didn't want to sit no front. So I was like, that was something God had to minister to me too. So that even more made me closer to like, okay. I was like, because I did have plans to like, yeah, I do eventually want to start working on my stuff and, start putting my stuff up. But I want to make sure I support my wife first and furthermost. So I put a lot of my stuff on back burner, not because of her, but because really I was just lazy. That's what it boiled down to. I used that as an excuse. I was like, oh, I got an excuse now.
But you always made beats. So
I always made beats. Yeah.
You were doing that. But then there were times, especially, so I had a solo album before Mike and I met. And then once we met, I started working on my second album, and I remember there were some days that I would like hear the beats that you made at night while I was sleeping. If you don't know about my sleeper life after I went to sleep,
my sleepless adventures, that's going to be a whole other podcast.
We talked about it a little bit in the first episode. But there were times when I was like, ooh, I like that beat, but can you fix this or fix that? And that's when it was kind of like, it's been a week. Why haven't you fixed it yet?
And we talked about that. This is a producer's pet peeve. I'm gonna give you just a few insights. If a producer does or a beat maker does a beat and you are interested and you say, yeah, I want to buy that beat, in our head, ding, it goes off. The only thing I might have to do work-wise after that is maybe formatting, a little different things to that. I'm not gonna have to add no piano. I'm not gonna have to take this out. I'm not gonna have to, hey, come up with this sound. Or do you ever think about it?
He was my husband, so right. I figured it could get customized.
Right, but in me, I'm
take out that instrument.
Yeah, and with me, I would just I would put a smile on my face, try to make sure like it wasn't bothering me. But inside, I was being sincere as an undertaker, giving you a get well soon gift card. I was like, yeah. So
I could see a little bit of pain, but I'm like, this is necessary, not necessarily just for my beat, but I feel like those times have definitely prepared you for artists that you have worked with since then. Yes or no?
Yeah, in a sense it has.
Yeah.
But I've grown and I've learned a lot of things, and I'm just now as a producer, I would just try to be upfront.
True.
I just try to be upfront, and I'm still working on that too. Get my ducks in a row.
Yeah. I think the main thing for me as like the one who is like, okay, I set these goals and I'm pretty self-sustained. I don't need accountability. Accountability is great, but I don't need it because I know what God told me to do. I know I have a goal and I want to reach it. I just want to reach the goal. The journey is great, but I'm very goal oriented. Yeah. I think for Mike, it's like,
I just want to slow dance with the goal. I just want to slow dance with the goal, but not take you home. We just do a little moving, like, playing a little footsie under the table with it. But, as silly the deal, taking it all away, nah.
We need to call this love beats jokes in marriage. Gosh. Yeah, so let's, I guess, to give everybody kind of like a summary. So what, for the spouse that knows the destination or the goal, but is not as driven, what do you say to that person that's like you? And then I'll say something to the person that's like me, that's like the taskmaster. Let's have fun, but let's get it done.
Well, there's no magic word you can say to people like us. Like I say, continue to support us. But I know that you have to be very patient. Like my wife to be really patient with me with that, because she sees the potential in things that I can do and how it could benefit our household. So I would give you your advice is continue to be patient, continue to put words, but you got to bring the person to task and be like, hey, babe, let's start sitting down and just do small little goals. And when it starts getting uncomfortable to you, let me know this and let's talk it through with that. Because as a person with gifts, and I'm calling my best friend out again, you know who you are. I'm going to call your name on camera after this airs, but yeah. But anyway, you know who you are. So I'm talking to you. Just definitely, you got to get it down and write it. Let's start small with something that you really can see yourself doing, whether you're an animator, whether you like doing music, whether you like doing, let's do small little steps to see what, because we got to stop being stuck in neutral because we're not going anywhere. Right. So let's just start. And then the second part of that is I'm going to need you to be honest with me when it starts to get uncomfortable. When you're the person that's like in neutral, slow dancing with your goals. Slow dancing.
You need to be honest with your spouse who is ready to like
go all the way
to overdrive.
Right.
Okay, those are really good.
Baby steps.
And
being honest when it's getting uncomfortable for you, so that person knows that, hey, we finna go to phase 2. Phase 2. Phase 2. So yeah. So we have to just that's the best advice I can give.
And be honest. Those are really good. So I would say for the person who is like me, who is more the let's get it done. Drill sergeants are mean though. They don't play no games. They don't laugh. They don't want you to have fun while you're doing what you're doing. So that still applies.
No, you're not mean, babe. But you like go like do it.
So I just want you to say I'm not a drill sergeant.
Do it. Yeah. Anyway, Starsky and Hutch reference.
I just want you to say I'm not a drill sergeant.
You're not a real drill sergeant.
Okay. I'm not a real one. Yes, definitely not. All right. So for people who are like me and encouraging the gifts and talents to flourish and grow and spill out of your spouse,
right,
I would say you definitely still have to maintain your patience. Patience will be your saving grace.
Yes, it will. Right?
And pray. Ask God to send people, because I started to feel like I'm just the wrong spouse for him. I don't know how to motivate this guy. I just don't get it. I'm trying everything I could think of, like, what's the right combination? Do I do this? Do I say that? Is it more sarcasm? Is it less sarcasm? Is it more, you're great, go? Like, I just didn't know. And I still don't know. But I pray and I ask God to help him to see how amazingly gifted and talented he is, even though people, me and others, tell him all the time, and to realize that he needs to live full and die empty. If you know, that's one of my favorite books, Rick Godwin.
It is.
So patience, if you're me, and for dealing with another thing for dealing with your spouse, other than the patience, is to just keep kind of pushing them out there.
Yeah.
It's like Mike said, those small goals, try to make sure they actually accomplish those small goals.
Because hers is live full, die empty. Right now, at my point in my life, I would probably say mine is live full and die with some food in your belly. So So we gotta work on getting the rest of it out.
In the middle.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope that this has been helpful and that you all start with those tips and that they make a difference. Oh, and I was gonna say, pray for God to send people to
you already said
encourage. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you said
so good. I said everything I needed to say.
Using those listening skills.
Good job, baby. I need to listen to myself.
And this was Love, Beats, and Marriage, and we'll see you guys next week.
LBM Kings.
LBM Kings. Hashtag. There you go.
Great job, baby.